bringing you the news, leading you to much success with all their insightful views. Do you grow yourself or buy from the top shelf? Are you here to take the reins and gain back your health? Whatever it is, you know the biz. Leave a like, crack a pipe, and let's get on with it. If you want to acquire the knowledge, you don't have to go to college. You can just come hang with Aaron and Dave.
Welcome to the Elevated News Podcast with TwoDopeDudes. We're a podcast focused on discussing local and national cannabis news and culture. I'm Aaron.
And I am Dave.
What's up, dude? How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. How was the last week in the industry?
It has been interesting.
Yeah.
It's always moving. It's always evolving. Yeah, I think it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only see my little narrow lanes sometimes too, and in my little narrow lane sometimes lots of obstacles.
Lots of obstacles. Yeah.
Yes, sir. But that's okay. Nothing bad. It's just stuff you got to deal with. And
yeah, for sure. Shout out to our friend Lastly. Hi with Lastly. I saw him. He had a meme that said, "If you want to get into cannabis space, cannabis retail, just understand it's more retail than it is cannabis."
Oh, yeah. Don't even think it's cannabis at this point. I'm trying to
I'll pop it up on the screen. I actually saved it to send it to you.
Yeah, perfect.
To send to you. Yeah, I thought it was cute.
Genuinely, yeah. Unfortunate.
Yeah, that is the unfortunate. And then it's also a regulated retail, so it's like it's double whammy. Sometimes. Yeah. I'm just in my head thinking about it.
It's retail that you can go to jail over.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to be an ignorant human to do
but you
so.
Could. You are somebody who is, you could be somebody who is responsible for whole buildings of things going on.
Oh, yeah. And with,
like look at some of the cultivation, the upper agent licensing and stuff. It explains some of that. We've gone over it. But
one of the, There's a no diversion thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which means that you can't give away product. You can't
sure.
It's we actually have a zero discrepancy policy, right? So we can't be up or down inventory ever. It has to be 100% precise,
accounted for
100% of the time.
Yeah.
Which doesn't happen in any other retail space. Could you imagine if fucking Walmart had to tell you every time, like, keep a physical inventory that they had to have a physical copy of every single day? They had to go in and count it every single day. Could you imagine if Walgreens had to do that?
Louise.
Yeah. Anyway,
I mean, it sounds like a nightmare.
There are some things that they have to stay more. Anyway, who gives a shit? I just, I ran into this actually very recently with somebody who has a ton of passion for cannabis and its use as a medicine, and was asking me, like, where do you go? How do you get involved? What are the steps? And I said, honestly, do you subscribe to TwoDopeDudes or fucking Peace, Love, and Coke? Because I'm gonna tell you the truth, like. Yeah, there's not, like, the medical discussion going on now is
very little.
Even then, it's Leafly derived information.
Sure.
Right, which I'm not saying is a bad thing because Leafly aggregates their information from some sources that are reputable, but like not a lot of anything nowadays is rooted in too much like direct science or math, and I'm not trying to overbeat that horse to a place, but I recently have seen a lot of people just using very basic surface level information, and that being more than the consumer needs.
Yeah.
That's overwhelming the consumer, actually. And the only reason I'm bringing this up at all is because, like, it's so much more retail than it is medical.
Yeah.
And how do we
integrate that?
Yeah, how do we make sure the culture of medicine isn't forgotten once this evolution comes about? Because it'll come, right? The
Yeah.
regulation has to change at some point
Sure.
where you have open access to cannabis and you're not treated like a criminal for possessing or accessing.
Right. We're not
it.
actively still writing laws to criminalize cannabis.
Correct.
Right. That's what it was supposed to be.
Well,
we thought we agreed upon that as a culture.
Yeah.
That cannabis use and cannabis possession should not be treated criminally, because it's
and pretty much depending on where you're at, there's some places that still, even in the United States, it'll get you. You know,
I mean, be careful in Indiana. Be careful in Arkansas. You know, be careful in Mississippi.
Yeah, if you need to, you can own a bear.
Yeah,
but that cannabis shit. Unnecessary. And you know what, you probably don't know how to handle cannabis, but you probably figured out how to handle a bear, so you're in good shape.
Yeah.
Unreal. Anyway, yeah,
it's been generally fine. I think in closing, it's been generally fine.
Everything's
the whole
fine.
thing.
Yeah, we're just getting. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was still kind of thinking in the space of the retail versus.
Yeah.
I just love people using cannabis as medicine. You know.
We got some cool stuff to talk about. I also have a little surprise for you.
Nice.
Let's do plugs real quick, and then we can get into YouTube comments.
Nice.
So, plugs. If you grow, you know. Having the right gear for your home garden makes all the difference. That's why you need to get on board with Crop Culture's quarterly home grower boxes.
Crop Culture releases insane value boxes every 3 months packed with premium seeds, growing equipment, and unique extras tailored for those who want to plant with a purpose.
But that's not all. Coming soon, they're launching monthly crop drops, where you can snag a pack or two of Fire Genetics, along with must-have gardening accessories like AC Infinity's legendary trimming scissors.
We're talking stickers, mystery goodies, and deeply discounted bundles you won't find anywhere else. Just an easy one-time purchase with no commitment.
Their current quarterly box is an absolute steal, featuring top-shelf genetics, a pH meter or smell-proof bag, monitoring tools, fermented plant probiotics, and more.
And for our listeners, use the code TwoDopeDudes for $10 off any purchase of $100 or more at cropculture.net.
So whether you want the full quarterly experience or just need a regular re-up, Crop Culture's got you covered.
Level up your garden and score some gear that'll have your plants standing tall. If you grow, you know you need to check them out at cropculture.net before sold-out regret sets in. Let them help you plant with a purpose.
Hey there, fellow plant enthusiasts. Tired of using chemical fertilizers that harm your soil and the environment?
We feel you. That's why we want to introduce you to Green Grow Biological.
Green Grow offers organic soil amendments packed with beneficial bacteria and mycorrhizae fungi like their popular Pride Bloom fertilizer and flower finisher.
These little powerhouses work together to improve your soil health, helping your plants grow strong and healthy naturally. Whether you're a seasoned gardener or just starting out, Green Grow has something for you.
And because Green Grow is committed to sustainable practices, you can feel good about what you're putting into your home and garden.
Head over to thegreengrow.com to learn more about their amazing products and how they can help you take your gardening to the next level.
And listen up, because here's a special offer just for our listeners. Use the code TwoDopeDudes for 10% off your entire order at thegreengrow.com.
That's TwoDopeDudes for 10% off at greengrow.com. Happy planting!
You can find us, the Elevated News Podcast, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all your other favorite streaming and podcast apps. For all you listeners, we appreciate you. If you're watching us, Two Dope Dudes YouTube channel, give us a like, leave a review. This helps us reach more people. We appreciate everybody in the live chat for sure. Had another great live chat last week.
Hell yeah.
You can find us at supportdopepeople.com, along with links to our other shows and pods, like Thursday Nights with Dave, and free stickers just by providing your email and address. And email us at TwoDopeDudesPodcast@gmail.com for all your questions or things you want us to talk about. John Voight said he was going to send nudes, but he still hasn't.
Well,
Dave?
he drops in on Thursday nights. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I know where John Voight will be.
Yep.
He'll be coming to hang out with me.
Yep.
He's a great guy, and I love the company. Honestly, come hang out Thursday night.
Yeah.
Peace, love, and cope. If you haven't done it already, hit the subscribe button and just you don't have to do it all the time, but a little pop in. Come say hi.
Yeah, come say hi.
All right? Come smoke a little dabby do or something with me.
So we got some a big comment I wanted you to see just the other day. How do I read more? It says this is from, I can't read it.
Oh.
John, it's so small.
Joanna. Okay.
Anyway, you know who it is. It's
Yep.
just it's so small from this far away.
Yeah, so sorry. I'm trying.
Thank you both so much. My former cannabis studies student, now friend, turned me onto your podcast, and I'm so grateful. I have subscribed to your channel. After 40 plus years of successful cannabis use, I had to stop about a year ago. Cannabis was making me pass out and became quite frightening and dangerous. My episodes always happened after smoking and were preceded by sudden extreme nausea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hyperemesis.
Yeah. I was playing disc golf with Tim Briggs the other day. He also said that he got cannabis hyperemesis and doesn't use it anymore.
Really?
Yeah. And he's a disc golf friend. It says here, you touched on the health issues we are now seeing and discussed high THC levels as potential cause. I wonder if THC is the cause of my health issues, or is it the toxic adulterants we find in commercial cannabis? Is it both or neither? I may never know. Dave, do you want to respond to that?
Yeah, I think realistically there's a potential that, I don't know what your use schedule is,
Yeah.
but an abundance of THC is probably not the best for some things in long term.
Yeah.
Especially what we're seeing with this nausea situation is that it might be causing a stomach paralysis per se. So yeah, I think, you know, that is a good way to slow down THC, increase other excess cannabinoids.
Yeah.
And then things that they're adding to cannabis nowadays, it
depends on where you're getting it from. I mean, there's always a potential. Maybe, I mean, I don't know that any botanically derived or plant-derived additives like after, I think those are pretty okay. I don't think that.
I would generally say for the most part, you're in okay shape. Excessive amounts of anything that isn't fully natural in through methods of ingestion that we naturally are capable of breaking these things down with. You know, that might be aggressively out of what you should be doing, but I think, you know, let me keep reading here. So
I taught a session in my class on the testing industry in Illinois that was very eye-opening and concerning. You also opined on why people keep using even after health events. In my case, I kept using it after I stopped working because I missed the high. Okay. As far as social equity owners in Illinois and the claim from IDFPR that they have achieved parity, I simply don't believe it. I could write a dissertation on the racism, sexism, ableism in the industry, but I won't bore you. Thank you. I mean,
I could probably write you
because we know what it is. So, we all know what it is.
I'll write you a novel about it. So,
lastly, you mentioned that the state IDFPR and the ILDOA, which is the Department of Agriculture, have called for increased education for workers and the public. I agree that education is sorely needed, but any real cannabis education must be free and non-biased. I agree.
I respect that too.
As it stands, it is not. I agree. You are correct. If the state wants to see more workers and corporations want to hire more people, they need to pay for training and pay a living wage. Currently, canna education costs money for learners and is in part funded by the industry. True.
Okay, so depending on what you're doing, right now there's plenty of accessible programs that are free, but again, that is offered by the person who is trying to teach you something, which is all often underhandedly just a sales pitch for you to use as your sales pitch outwardly. So yes, I
100%.
respect what you're saying. 100, you're on.
I know because I worked for 2 Illinois colleges that have cannabis certification programs. I also worked in the college industry, and we know that certifications are just a way to increase money. You know, so like you're not wrong.
It depends on, okay, so I guess again, this is the other thing. What access to information do you want?
Sure.
Because if it has to be from an accredited university or
Correct.
something of that nature, you're going to pay for that information for the rest of your life,
Yeah.
no matter what, right? Because of
Yeah.
teachers and everything. But for the industry workers, it is accessible through different means. Again, probably lacking in some
Diversity in education,
science and math,
Sure.
at least. And then, yeah,
can I interject?
Yeah,
I
please.
say what would I agree with you. I say what would be better is if people were actually allowed to home grow, and we could actually have cannabis certification courses where you could actually go out and learn about nature and like the soil web, like the soil food web biology system. You could learn actual things that you could do instead of just, this is what you need to do to work in a retail store. That would be better than what we're offering right now. But that requires
1,010%.
Because that's actually what people want to go to college for, not just the whatever that's being offered that has to be so rigid.
I had somebody that I talked to today, actually. It was an older gentleman who was actually delivering me some weed. We had a great conversation. But he said, you know what the problem is nowadays? He said, when I went to school, you know what we had outside the school? And I was like so confused. He said, we used to have a fucking garden.
Yep.
He said, at school,
we had chicken coops.
We would go outside and we would learn how to plant shit.
Yep.
And each grade had their own little plot of shit or each whatever. And we all just planted shit and we learned how to grow gardens.
Yeah.
If nothing else, tomatoes and peppers and cucumbers and whatever, just the basic things that are easier to grow around here. He said, nowadays, like, there's none of that. I was like, damn, you're fucking right. I wish we'd teach people how to grow some cannabis, to be honest with you. It's like a trade secret. But the reason why it's a trade secret is because the people who grow it maximize and grow it for THC.
Right.
They don't want to tell you how to do it. And that's all out there, right? Like, growing information is very out there. Quality grow information, you have to go to events locally and rub elbows with people who actually do it and fall on their faces 100 times so that you don't have to fall on your face. The problem is you're going to still, because that's learning. It's a learning curve you're going to go through with anything. But
community is important because it allows you access to so many other knowledgeable people. It gives you, if you find the right community, it can give you a healthy way to kind of judge where you're at against other people who are also your friends and home growers. And really what it is I get to smoke my friend's weed. He gets to smoke some of my weed. We can tell each other, hey, this is good. Hey, this one was, you know what I mean? Try again, try this. That's what you got to have.
We're going, community. So like my favorite thing too, even though I've seen some of the guys around testing their stuff for THC potency or whatever.
100%.
We're going more off of, this is good, look at it, smoke it, right? It's good. It is good. Yep. It doesn't have to be a fucking number. It doesn't have to be a package. It doesn't have to be a label. It doesn't have to be none of that shit matters.
Right.
When we take away all of, and again, we take away the science and the math and the things that I love now to learn about in cannabis, and we could strip it all the fuck away. What is good and what isn't good. And there are some people that just are missing that, and it's on like a fucking monster scale now. People are doing 220,000 square feet of grow space. Bad.
Yeah.
Right? There's people that are doing it relatively well, I'd say, for how much. When I saw what a quarter of that fucking space was to have plants growing in it, and I was like, well, but there's a lot of plants in here, man.
Yeah.
You need a lot of motherfuckers to take care of them.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And there's just so much production going on by it, but it's a living thing. And the farming of it, and it's very cool. because it's done by hand a lot of times still, right? The plant's actually cut down by hand. It's hung by hand. It's trimmed mostly by hand, depending on who you're getting your shit from. To save time now, though, it makes sense for these people to use machines. Some of the machines have gotten better. They're not that bad. Is it breaking some of the trichome heads off? Is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, but, you know.
We can't hate that much because, again, what is the overall that's coming from it? Is there a terpene value that's still intact? Is there excess cannabinoids? Or did you just purely pump this thing full of THC richness?
Yeah.
And now we've got people who are both medically having an issue with it, but they're becoming What's the opposite of a
not a proponent, but it's somebody who is opposed to,
like an opposition to, right?
An oppositionist.
Yeah, but yeah,
I don't think you meant them.
No, they're not them here. I mean literally the guy that I was talking to today, he said, nah. No, I came back after smoking, and it was just too much.
Yeah.
This is not the weed from back in the day. I didn't enjoy it one bit. I was so cooked.
Yeah.
He said, it was uncomfortable. And I said, sir, you did it wrong. Can I ask you, let's go back into it, because the only way to overcome it is to face it also.
Sure.
How much did you smoke? Oh, just me and my buddy had a joint. I said, exactly, how many buddies? Oh, just me and one other. And he smokes regularly, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and he convinced you to just keep puffing on this fucking joint. You haven't done it in
learn to
however
say
many
no.
years. And that's the other thing, too. We don't know when to say no, because it's going to take 5 or 10 minutes for it to kick in or make it happen, right? So I was talking to him. I said, what'd you hit it? Probably 3, 4, 5 times? He goes, yeah. I said, you probably did it then 3, 4, or 5 times too many. So
yeah.
I'm going to be real honest with you. It's like, I could give you something right now that isn't that. And if you did it correctly, and inhalation doesn't have to be the way, but it's also what you're using it for.
Yeah.
If you don't have a fucking need for it, you don't need it. But if you have a need for it and you have any questions on how to use,
thanks.
There's actually a couple of we might even be talking about another one. We've been talking about excess cannabinoids recently. We're going to talk about another one that might benefit you directly.
Nice.
You know? Yeah.
Macho also says, TwoDopeDudes, hope you get better, Dave. You sound pretty much better. Like coughing still, but thanks for keeping Guapo not sick. I agree.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, it ended up like I was kind of sick. I've gotten 0 people around me sick from being around them. I don't know. And it was only like I felt bad for 2 days.
Yeah.
And then I felt fine. Feel fine now.
Gary Coronet says, thanks, TwoDopeDudes, for turning me on to CBD. And Dave, get better, man.
Oh, Gary Bear.
Yeah, we love Gary. Mr. Rourke, Jake Harbo. Good afternoon, Grummies.
Oh, Mr. Rourke.
Yes. Also, I showed you that on Sunday. We were talking about Daily Homegrown, who was starting to take a daily supplement of CBDG to see how he feels. He updated the comment today. He was going to take some every day for 30 days. He thought that would be definitely more effective. Absolutely agree. I also told him journaling might help with the success there too.
So I think
cool.
I think the next move is, if you don't see something like that, is to try and find out how it consistently can stay in your system for 30 days, right? Yep. You're doing 1 dose a day for 30 days. Great. See what the effect is. Mm-hmm. Next would be keeping it in your system for that long. Yeah. So depending on your method of ingestion,
he was doing edibles. I think he had got some stuff from Arise.
Okay.
Arise.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep. Some of the yuzus, or the
orange
guavas.
The orange red tin.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. Yeah,
I do know what you're talking about. Black cherry guavas. No, I think they're guavas.
Yeah. It's on my Instagram. I can't pull it up right now.
Yeah.
I'd show you.
No, good.
But yeah, so shout out to people who are like actually listening, interacting. This is what's important to us. This is actually why we do this. When you actually listen to us, listen to what we have to say, think about it, and try and implement it into your own life, and take your health back in your own hands. Right? That's the mission.
I literally was thinking about it earlier today while I was putting some weed away. I said, man, I cannot wait to go fucking talk tonight because it will at least allow me to fully exhaust my passion for this thing for a little bit.
Hey, Illinois news joint. Illinois September cannabis sales dipped to 136 million, which is actually
to 100.
What's that?
They dipped to 100.
Yeah, dipped to 136 million.
If they dipped 136 million, that'd be a rough day.
Yeah, if I didn't say that right.
No.
So IDFPR announced today, which is October 16th, last Wednesday, recreational cannabis sales totals for September 2024. For the first time in 7 months, monthly totals dipped below 140 million, hitting the third lowest total in 2024 at 136.5. Since 2020, August and September months and even October have reached similar monthly totals. The largest decrease in monthly sales totals usually occurs between the months of December to January and January to February.
Holy fuck.
In September, yes, and don't forget there's always, regardless of what they say, there's a lag. In September, dispensaries also sold less than 4 million cannabis items for the first time since February 2024. In-state resident sales reached 106 million, and out-of-state resident sales reached 106 million, and out-of-state resident sales totals reached 30,000 or 30 million. Why am I saying 1,000?
Wow. Holy shit.
Don't forget, Ohio is going on 3 months now legalized. What'd they make? 76 million in the first 2 months in taxes? Or was it sales?
Just in sales.
Just in sales.
But that's, I mean, like,
just more and more opening.
Yeah.
Minnesota's coming soon.
Yeah.
Not that we get the upper Wisconsin people, but
we probably ain't seen a bunch of Ohio traffic either.
Upper Michigan people. Or no, upper Wisconsin just hop over the ferry to Michigan.
Go to Michigan. Yeah. You can go up to the UP.
Yeah, you just take the ferry over.
Yeah. I mean, you can drive to the UP.
Oh, I know. I've been there I've traveled on my motorcycle. So
the full circle. Oh, yeah. That would too.
Yeah.
What a beauty. Yeah.
But we are definitely trending down.
By quite a bit, actually. So go back up for 1 second. August was $147 million. September was fucking 136. 30 days has September, April, June, and November. Okay, so there's one extra day in August. 30 days says June, but fucking that don't matter because June has one less day, and I don't know if we're doing 5 million. Oh, we might be.
Maybe.
Fucking June they had 141. That's still a $5.2 million dip from June
in all of Illinois, not just where we're at.
Holy cow!
In all of Illinois.
Wow, that's, I mean, from last month, $11 million not to show up to the fucking pie is crazy. And there's more dispensaries open. There's more cultivation centers opening. There's more. All these things are coming in.
Yep.
The pie's the same size. Pie's actually decreasing.
Yeah.
We're getting less pie.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So, market is regulating itself in some ways. Here's a very interesting thing I wanted to talk about. This is like a Crane's business thing. Illinois officials call out illicit sales, THCA, for eating into legal cannabis sales.
Man.
If you've been watching this podcast a long time, you'll remember that we talked about this last year, that this was going to come. So, officials estimate that more than 1/3 of the state's cannabis use originates in the illicit market. This is probably an opinion piece too, but I mean, it's probably half and half. Illinois cannabis industry hit new highs fiscal year 2024, with adult use sales eclipsing $2 billion and dozens of new dispensaries opened their doors. But the latest annual cannabis report from the state also reveals a market still wrestling with persistent illicit sales and emerging threat from unregulated hemp-derived products. The report, compiled by the Cannabis Regulation Oversight Office with the help of several state departments, showed tax revenue from cannabis sales reached $457.3 million by the end of what was dubbed a year of explosive growth, as the state reminded us, with 82 new dispensaries opening, bringing the statewide total to over 200. Illicit market woes, dun dun dun. Those successes were shadowed by concerns from state officials about competition from the illicit market. Quotes, even though the shifting of law enforcement resources have migrated away from minor cannabis offenses, the ongoing presence of illicit cannabis being brought into Illinois still demands significant resources, the ISP stated in the report. We talked about the report the last time. I left a link. Please, I urge you, go and look through that report. There's a lot of really interesting things. The report specifically called out Chicago, noting that the high-potency cannabis from other states enters the region around the city and is injected into the illicit market. The Illinois State Police seized approximately 12 tons of illicit cannabis in fiscal 2024, valued at $63.7 million.
24,000 pounds of cannabis that they seized.
Is
this from fucking
illicit? This is yeah,
from the black market or from fucking. This is just a black market they're talking about.
Illinois State Police are seized approximately. Yeah, this is from black market. 12 tons of illicit cannabis in fiscal. No, I understand. No, it's not illicit in that it was mispackaged or
from.
No. This is
THCA stuff that they were ripping off of shelves. Maybe even right.
So. Data from the International Cannabis Policy Study estimated that nearly 36% of the Illinois cannabis market is from illegal sources. A separate memo cited by officials noted that most unregulated cannabis available in Chicago HIDTA region comes from Mexico. They're talking about like trafficked cannabis. However, over the past few years, both the volume and sources of supply have expanded to include Asian drug trafficking organizations and both illegal and legal growers located along the U.S. West Coast, Pacific Northwest, and other states. It said. This is all in that market in this memo. The persisting presence of unregulated weed in the state may also be driven in part by price differentials. While legal dispensaries charge an average of $330 per pound or per ounce after taxes, street prices, however, hover around $200 per ounce, according to the data from the task forces and meg units cited in the report, which I find to be about correct. I think 200 is a little high. I've heard of $50 ounces coming from up north.
Oh, bro, you can go to fucking Michigan and buy $75 ounces, and
that's what I'm saying.
It's not trash, right? It's not great, but it's smokable and will get you minusculely intoxicated.
Yep. Heavy hitting hemp. Hemp-derived products pose another challenge for regulators. The ISP Cannabis Control Office mentioned the proliferation of synthesized THC products marketed as hemp-based or CBD that are often mislabeled and fall into a legal gray area. To produce the products, Delta8 tetrahydrocannabinol has been artificially synthesized from a CBD product and sprayed or otherwise incorporated back into another, usually legal hemp food, vape, or other product. Yeah, that's what the Illinois market does too, kind of.
No, it's literally specifically it, but it's not synthesized from a CBD product.
Right.
It is fucking extracted from the goddamn cannabis plant that we are calling hemp because of the bullshit ways that fucking the classification of these plants has gone.
Correct. I was just trying to not.
Yeah, sorry.
No. You're 100%. I don't mind. I was just withholding.
Yeah.
It cited more specific prosecution challenges due to legal ambiguities. ISP, often in collaboration with local law enforcement, has struggled in convincing states' attorneys to move forward with prosecution of sale of allegedly hemp-derived products above the 0.3% THC limit, which are legal or illegal under state and federal law, the CCO reported. Clarification and legislations would certainly help. Obviously, tell us how we can, arrest people, and we'll do it.
Well, the clarification in legislation, here's what it is. Are you ready? So that you, even, because this is the other side, you can stop fucking worrying about it. 0.3%
Yep.
by volume. That's it. It's not the pesky hemp market or the anything.
Yeah.
We have access to THC.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about? If you're a hemp license holder, you have access to the cannabinoid
THC.
Delta8 tetrahydrocannabinol. Does it take synthesization of the plant from its raw and natural form? Yes. That is why hemp farmers are allowed to grow
Cannabis.
Fuck. You know? I mean, it's literally.
I mean, so are we've talked about this too. So are the MSOs. They're growing the same thing. When we talk about the companies that are growing THCA hemp outside, what are we talking about?
It's this whole fucking THCA anything is.
It's dumb.
It's weed.
Yeah.
It's just weed, man. It's just literally all of it is just weed, cannabis, dank, buds, loud. I don't give a fuck what you call it. All of it. Hemp, cannabis, the plant. It's one fucking thing. We're confused about it.
Right.
The same way we seem to be confused about all fucking kinds of things in our lives, right? But this plant, we don't have to be confused about it. We can tell the difference. If it's a male, it's got fucking seeds.
Yep.
If it's a female, it produces fucking flowers and buds, right? A beautiful resinous glory.
Yep.
No fucking seeds. That's how we tell the difference. It's straightforward.
I mean, most of the other plants are the same way. It's not even that confusing.
No, nothing confusing about this thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it also goes on to say, first, THCA, but it also specifically single out high THCA content hemp flower for exploiting legal loopholes. First, THCA is defined as THC under the Cannabis Regulation and Tax Act. That is an Illinois specific legislative bill, right? That is the act, right? That does not make it so. You can say that, and you can say in Illinois it is considered that.
You could,
but that does not make it so.
If you appealed this all the way to the federal level, if your product was under 0.3% THC by volume, you would be legally
correct
doing the things that you were doing.
So anyway, I just wanted to point that out because that annoys me. These products often have THCA contents as higher than cannabis flower sold in licensed cannabis dispensaries in the state. I don't actually think that's true. Have you looked at the labels lately?
No, yeah.
Purveyors of THCA products often claim they are compliant with federal hemp legislation. Because they are, otherwise they would be not in compliance and you would arrest them because that's what the feds do. However, the DEA recently clarified their stance on federal legislation, confirming that in determining total THC content of a product, THCA must be included in that calculation because the USDA changed their testing guidelines. That's why.
Yeah.
Yep. While it's true the Drug Enforcement Administration says it considers THC to be a controlled substance,
it's the DEA's stance also. Yeah, it's not the DEA's new rule that they just...
Correct.
Right.
That's their stance because of what the USDA testing guidelines are. Recent federal appeals court challenged that, ruling that the products defined as hemp under federal law remain hemp regardless of processing, which could take the issue out of the state's hands entirely. Which seems to be correct in my view, that hemp is hemp regardless of processing.
Yep.
Because the federal government told us so.
Yeah.
And because that's actually true.
Well, and
What the state is saying is we want it to be something different so we can enforce something.
Well, look at this guy here, this Calvin Heinberg wannabe. He said something about well, we just want to tell the state about the $457 million we made you in taxes. We just want you to know about all the taxes we're making you. But then literally listen to any of the fucking people who own businesses or anything, and they're going, holy fuck, these taxes might actually kill us, right? We just seen a fucking $11 million decrease month over month.
Yeah. I mean, if you go on Reddit and look at, like, you know, some of these online forums and stuff, like, I think people should be paying attention because there's a lot of truths being said, and people are actually, a lot of it's crap information, but you can glean little bits, you know, if you go online, and you can kind of see how people are actually thinking about things.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
The upper echelon people should probably, you know, probably tell your lawmakers that they're fucking ruining shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like a few economic tells that have just happened too to maybe state that like maybe people are a little bit more scared right now. People aren't going to spend their money. Maybe they're going to honey hole a little bit of cash instead and not fucking...
Not lying either.
I mean, literally, just economically speaking, I just looked at some of the most recent numbers that are showing, and like...
already in a recession. I don't care what anybody says.
I mean...
I've been talking about
gold prices have hit a weird fucking high. Fucking silver prices are kind of running. Like, there's a few plays on some things that, like... if we're going the opposite way of inflation, right? If inflation is calming down, why the fuck is everybody playing into? So anyway, I'm not an economist. I don't really give a fuck. I just like to pay attention to that stuff because the shift in money sometimes can lead us, if you're intelligent enough, to figure out what to do with your money, maybe at some point. So
definitely, hold your cash money.
who knows, man? I mean, who knows what the answer is?
I mean, there's a complete. I mean, well, BRICS is going on today, so that's like the. It's like the. Like Russia and the people over there, that little conglomeration. It's like their Bretton Woods. You know, this is. You know, there's a lot of stuff coming. There's a lot of stuff coming. And you know. Trump and Kamala are both the problem, so don't give me any of that shit about how they're gonna fix it, because you don't even understand. Anyway,
it just would shift. It only shifts where the money goes.
Yeah, for sure.
The thing is what we have to understand is us as humans, we continue to be productive. We continue to mine and produce and farm, and regardless, I mean, even going to whatever simple jobs a lot of us do, whatever that is production, right? We're putting into something.
Yeah, time preferences.
So there's a constant growth. It's through that growth of things. How much are you getting stolen from you?
Yep.
And how little is the impact of what you're gaining from your efforts in? Because at 40% taxation, we start to be at a weird place again, right? Where it's, I mean, again, very nice to be safe. Very nice to not have bombs and shit blowing up in our backyards 100%. And shit. And I hope it stays that way. And you know, but I hope that's I don't give a flying fuck about fiscal policy. I don't give a shit about anything.
Yeah, if you want to know about that, send me a message. I will send you some amazing people to listen to that really actually know what's going on. And it's not like kooky ass shit. I'm just saying, like, you can actually get a handle on what's actually kind of going on. Because I, you know, am libertarian autist, so we like that sort of stuff.
Nice. I would love to hear some of it too.
Yeah.
And I think, like, it's just listening from every direction, right? Because if you don't hear everybody's perspective, then you're missing out on something. And recently I just it feels like things are slowing down everywhere.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, we just had this big boom from COVID and all the extra money. We printed trillions and dollars, gave it out. We're sending tons of money to different companies or different countries to wage war.
I heard that there is something like we talk about the printed money. The printed money at least holds some kind of like, look what I got here, right? I think they said that there was something like $2 trillion in printed currency in America or something like that. My numbers might be off by now. But there's something like a net valuation of maybe 80 trillion or something. Which then what is it backed by? It's the idea that we're all going to continue to go to work and continue to be as productive as we are.
That's what,
right?
well, yeah, our dollar is hinged on, it's the petrodollar. It's what we agreed during Bretton Woods that you could only trade for oil in the dollar. And that's part of what's going on in Russia right now. It's part of what was going on. It ties to the pipeline. It ties to Germany and Russia together. There's going to be a bunch of countries that are going to say, okay, we agree that we'll only trade in this dollar, and that devalues our currency even more. And also war devalues us and our currency even more because we just piss more people off. Like, look up the term blowback. The CIA invented it because it's a word for what happens when we're going around fucking with other people. We get blowback because you kill one soldier and you just made 10 terrorists. And that's what happens.
I mean, bro, I've never been more weirded out by some of the shit that I'm seeing. And I don't want to get too overboard about it, but it does feel like there's more more need for some communications in the atomic bomb than ever. And the idea that, like, I don't know.
That's why I urge people to search for community. Search for your community, find your people, focus on what makes you happy. Try and be as healthy as you can.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of, the U.S. Army has updated its drug policy to clarify that soldiers, and shout out, I know there's a couple vets that listen to this, and we're not talking shit about you. We love you,
Ooh, vets? Oh, I love the fuck
I'm just
out
saying,
of some
like,
veterans,
I know we're
bro.
like, we're waging war and killing.
Oh no, I'm anti-war now.
Yeah.
And somebody who's at war now, I'm not against you being the fucking hero that you are, because if you ask me, there's not a single one of those humans who isn't a fucking anybody. I don't care what side. You're willing to pick up a gun and go fight against whatever you call it. I don't know. That's it's wild to me, right? And the fact that you've done it to protect me and allow me to sit here and talk like I fucking do, y'all are some heroes to me, right? I just hope I want to find a place where we can find some resolve, where people don't have to fight, where all of the brothers come home, where all of fucking your, our mothers, fathers, aunts, uncles, sisters, brothers, whatever, every single one of us comes back home and stays fucking home, right?
So the Army has updated its drug policy to clarify that soldiers are prohibited from using intoxicating hemp cannabinoid products like Delta8 THC. Further tells them, cautioning service members against eating foods containing poppy seeds, which can produce false positives when testing for opioids. The update to the Army substance misuse guidance took effect, that's their name for it, not ours, on October 4th. And with respect to the Delta8 THC components, it represents one of the latest examples how government and private institutions are attempting to navigate the legal gray area that's emerged since hemp and its derivatives were legalized under the 2018 Farm Bill.
Are they testing for fucking Delta8?
I don't know.
How do we...
Well, I'm assuming that Delta9 is
Or
also.
Delta8 probably can throw a false
Yeah,
positive.
that's what I'm saying.
There's
The military branch's prior policy enacted in 2020 made clear that the use of products made or derived from hemp, even if it's legal for civilians, is prohibited for soldiers. But that guidance came before Delta8 and other intoxicating cannabinoids became a mainstream feature of the largely unregulated cannabis market. That is a nice thing to say that's not true. Became a mainstream feature. That was before intoxicating cannabinoids and Delta8 became a mainstream feature. No, it's been legal since 2018. Lots of people have known about it.
yeah.
You're just finding out.
Yeah,
dummies.
yeah. Late to the party.
Yeah, exactly. Instead, the Army at the time focused on non-intoxicating CBD, which service members are also barred from using. It remains.
Why?
Well, because it's weed, man. It remains the rule that prohibited cannabis products include those that are injected. I injected 3 marijuanas earlier, inhaled or otherwise introduced into the human body, food products, transdermal patches, topical lotions and oils, soaps and shampoos, and other cosmetic products that are directly applied to the skin. This provision is punitive and violations may be subject to punishment, it says. Yeah, so I even know some like CDL truck drivers. They're like, oh, I can't even use that like topicals because like I'm afraid I'll get busted. And I'm like,
It doesn't synthesize.
Yeah,
like
it doesn't
that.
synthesize that way. But
No.
okay.
Well, and that's the other misinformation too. Like you have like one extremist group here, okay, that is talking about how they see something that they're very scared of,
Right.
but have no information to
Correct.
back. So the best way to do it is to just put a big X on it and say, "Fuck no, we're against it."
Well, you gotta listen to what they're saying here too. Why would they ban Delta8? Well, or why would they ban CBD stuff? Because it's weed.
Yeah, because of
Because
misinformation.
it's all weed. They're telling you it's all weed. Without saying it.
Well, because the thing is, you can't guarantee that you're getting just CBD when you buy a CBD product from an unregulated market,
Right.
which they understand because they don't have regulations in place for there to be a market. It doesn't make quite a lot of sense, but it's also like, we get it, right? Like this is literally this is government at its finest.
So it says
They
here,
just tell you how to do.
Yep. The new well, that's what, in fairness, in this instance, if you sign up to do that is absolutely, like that's what you signed up to do. So like you can't say you didn't know.
In the same way, like you just said, the CDL drivers, you signed up to have that job. You understand that intoxications aren't acceptable, period, right? Like, and being intoxicated, especially while behind that fucking wheel, can cause a lot more damage than good. So yeah, I'm into responsibility too. And in the same way, if these people are running around shooting guns and shit, 100% the same fucking mindset there. Be of as clear mind as you can, but CBD products might actually be as beneficial for them to have a clear mind as any.
Yeah, and
CBG.
This answers your question earlier. Part of the update says the Army will be conducting targeted screening for Delta8 THC during inspection, random testing, probable cause, or competence for duty testing. Part of the reason for policy revision appears related to the fact that the branch has said that the proliferation of intoxicating cannabinoid products has contributed to a significant increase in positive THC tests within the rank and file.
Yeah, because they're getting shit that has below 3% of 0.3% by volume THC, but has an abundance of THCA, and they're calling it Delta8, and that's the unregulated market that is causing the problem. If you allowed for there to be a market that had any fucking framework to it that isn't just shit thrown at the wall by some fucking state body that got put together over fucking night because the rules fucking changed and whatever. They're more fucking, these state people are more fucking inspection. They're inspectors. They're not even fucking, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And I'm, you know, all right. Anyway, hemp.
Yeah.
Hemp good.
I was reading some stuff.
Hemp good. Sorry.
Yeah.
People think not.
Yeah. Some Grandma's Miracle Sticky Buns. There was a link for that.
Ooh.
Look at this. When was this? 2018. U.S. Air Force warns about Grandma's marijuana-infused Miracle Sticky Buns.
Ooh.
And then it gives you a link. I wonder if there's a... Oh, yeah. I wonder if there's an actual recipe for that. I'd be interested.
Yeah, I'm in.
Hey, I appreciate you, Cole. Cole likes the intro to this. He was like, hey, I like that. And I was like, thanks.
Hey, Cole.
Yeah. He's the man. Also, starting today, his mini doc is available on YouTube.
Nice.
Please check it out. It's a short mini. I think it's like 20 or 30 minutes. It's not like hours long or anything is what I'm saying, but it's really well done. Shout out Cole Memo. Love that guy. Hopefully I'll see him at the Urban Legends coming up. Or possibly at the Illinois Hemp Growers Association town hall in Chicago on November 8th. You should go to that too. It's free.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah, definitely
show up.
We're going to actually be able to talk with lawmakers and stuff about policy updates. And, you know, I love Illinois Hemp Growers Association. They do important work. They're very smart. Yeah, please donate to them or get involved with them. They're awesome.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Cannabichromine. That's what we're going to talk about.
Cannabichromine. That's
what we're going to talk about on Know Your Cannabinoids with Dave. I'm not going to have any music, and I'm probably never going to make like an intro screen for this, but hey, Know Your Cannabinoids with Dave. Do.
Bum, 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 bum.
I'm sure you can make a song if you really wanted to. Cannabichromine. Know Your Cannabinoids with Dave. Here we go. Cannabichromine, CBC, also called cannabichrome.
Cannabichromine or cannabichrome.
Yeah. Exhibits anti-inflammatory properties in vitro, which may theoretically contribute to cannabis analgesic effects. It is a phytocannabinoid, one of the hundreds of cannabinoids found in the cannabis plant.
This is the other most abundantly found cannabinoid, at least in dispensaries at this point.
Sure.
CBC to me has always been what I go to when somebody's not getting the full. So like, right, there's kind of a rundown of it. If you have inflammation, it's CBD, right? If CBD is not working, can we increase your THCA intake? If not, can we increase your beta caryophyllene intake? And then if not, can we find CBC?
Right.
And that was because of availability of different things, right, in the past. Now, any cannabinoid might, well, I don't know. It's hard to say which one's more important, but those are the things in the anti-inflammatory world that have to be looked at, right? And CBC sometimes is the one where, it's just none of this is working for me. None of it is working. Well, there's, like I just said, I just named 4 different things. And in a world of entourage effect where you have a little bit of everything, when was it that the CBC was a little bit more abundant than the beta caryophyllene, right? So it's hard to say which one is more important, but by availability. CBC, and now it has become far more abundantly available. I mean, you can fibromyalgia.
Yeah, it says here
multiple sclerosis.
Yeah.
What else you got?
It says here CBC has shown anti-tumor effects in breast cancer, xenoplants, and mice.
100%.
Also has anti-convulsant activity in a mouse model as well.
It's also, I mean, it's the acne cannabinoid,
Yep.
right? It helps reduce the lipid production inside of your sebaceous glands, which can lead to acne production, right? So there's a lot of really cool ancillary things. The big thing when we talk about excess cannabinoids, that I think you have to just understand is that this is where we're seeing more direct benefit in different cancer types. So last week we said CBG, which I think is probably better at, I think it was brain cancer or something, right? I forget what, oh, no. It's gut cancers.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
like
Yeah.
colitis and so like those things. CBC, we're seeing that's better in breast cancer. I think it was actually THCV or CBDV that we saw a better in brain cancers, right? It's more that it's the missing puzzle piece, right? When we're talking about just something that's binding into different parts of the system and also helping and aiding in the production or the killing of different cells, right? That's
the one
apoptosis at its finest, right? Like we're literally teaching cells, unhealthy cells also, to kill themselves off and not to reproduce with a regulator. The regulator, it comes from the plant naturally.
Right.
There's something that this plant has 130 cannabinoids, however many terpenoids, however many flavonoids. There's 300 different components in that one little glob of, juicy goodness that comes out of it, right? And for us to finally be at the place where we're separating some of these things out and you are starting to have access to it, I genuinely recommend, especially with CBC, if you're dealing with inflammation issues and aren't finding a benefit from consistent CBD use, I would consider trying CBC.
It also says it's been hypothesized to affect THC psychoactivity. So do you think that
affecting a reduction or an increasing of?
I mean, it doesn't actually say.
Well, and that's the other thing. So like some other cannabinoids also may help in the binding process of different cannabinoids to our receptors to begin with, right? So what if just that carbon end that looks a little bit like this comparatively to the one that looks just straight or whatever sits on the cell first, and then the straight one can drop in it? Who fucking knows, right? Because I am not a molecular scientist, but we do know that there are different cannabinoids playing in to different receptors and helping the binding of excess cannabinoids also.
I was just reading the abstract for this paper. That was the answer for that. I didn't have anything else.
No, CBC is, again, probably the last of the available. You know what? Have we talked about THCA directly?
No, we haven't talked about THCA. We talked about THCV. We can
I want to
always
talk about THCA next.
I was thinking that. I was thinking we should do a Delta8, Delta9,
the precursor.
THCA. Yeah. Let's go through a lot. I mean, we haven't talked about, we talked about THCV, but not CBDV.
The only reason that I'm hesitant to talk about most of them is because what is available?
Sure.
What do you have access to? Because though CBDV is, and again, I think that one is good with thought things. Again, it's very good at focus and mental clarity. I think it also has an anticonvulsant property that we should definitely look at for epileptic patients. It just isn't available.
Right.
It just, as its direct cell, this is why I said at some point, and hopefully within our lifetimes, we see a more or a Burger King style of cannabis where you can have it your way. I want cannabinoids stripped into every different category that we can. Give me just a little bit of each one of them, and then allow me to reintroduce them into a singularity, right? And the problem is with that is that some of these extracts wouldn't necessarily maybe want to bind with each other necessarily, right? So how do we make it to that point? Is there a heating process or a centrifuge process or something that makes it so that it's all available for us to consume? I don't know. I'm not the inventor here, folks. I need somebody to go out there and strip every different cannabinoid and allow me access to it for a little bit. And if you have access to isolated cannabinoids, isolate, literal crystalline forms of cannabinoids, if I could know about that, that would be great. I love you all. Thank you.
We'll talk after the show.
Oh! I cannot wait to. Well, now, what are we wrapping up with this thought for then today?
Yeah,
What's today's final thought?
Today's final thought: find your community, find happiness, and if you can't,
don't seek happiness. It's there. It's right where you're sitting.
Yeah.
To continually have to seek something new that's going to make you more happy is consumerism.
I didn't say look for happiness. I said find happiness.
Hey, it's sitting in your lap.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. We love you all. Smoke weed every day.
Love you.
Peace.
Thanks. Bye.
Yo, ding dong, we're done here. Time to go.